Hi everyone, I just wanted to post a video about the expectations for the observation assignment. There may be some of you that have already completed your observation hours, and then I'm sure many of you will be doing that in the next couple weeks. We're just about a month out from that being due, so I just wanted to kind of direct your attention to what the expectations are and what type of information you really need to be focusing on in your observations. I have the expectations pulled up here that are located in your syllabus, and hopefully you took a time to read through these maybe a couple times so that you are clear on what you need to be observing during your observation. So we're just going to take a look at that. There's a couple different parts to what you need to be observing during your observation. So in this conducting your observation part, the first part is an environmental scan. So again, you're just going to be focusing on the environment, looking at the interest centers, looking at how the materials are arranged, looking at what types of materials there are, looking at how the materials are labeled, looking at how the environment is labeled and how the children will navigate through that. So again, this is just taking notes on that physical aspect of the classroom. So make sure that you take a look at all of these points here so that you are clear on what you need to be taking notes on whenever you are looking at that environment. We've suggested to maybe spend the first 30 minutes looking at just the classroom environment. It may not take you that long. It may take you a little bit longer. Just make sure that you plan accordingly so you do have enough time to take notes on that. The second part, we're really focusing in on the interactions and the relationships and the interests of the children. Again, read through all of this criteria and make sure that you take notes of all this. Again, you need to note how many children are in the classroom, how many staff members are in the classroom, and then you're going to start looking at interactions. There's 4 different interaction types that I want you to pay attention to. You have to record the same information for each of those interaction types, but let me just quickly explain how they are different. The first interaction type is adult to child. So this is when an adult initiates an interaction with a child. So it may be an adult coming up to a child and talking to the child about an activity that they're doing. It might be an adult coming up to a child to comfort him or her. If they're sad, it might be an adult going up to a child to help them problem solve. Whatever it may be, just make sure that this interaction type is one where the adult is the one that initiates the interaction. Then on the flip side, the interaction type number 2 is child to adult. So this is when the child goes up to the teacher and makes that first initiation of the interaction. Interaction 3 is child to child. So again, a child that's interacting with another child or a small group of children. And then the final interaction type is child to environment. So this is how a child is actually interacting with their environment. So it may be, for example, a child that you're observing that's interacting, they're playing in the block center and they might be building something. So again, you are observing how that child is interacting with their environment to further their development. So again, with each of these interaction types, you're going to list a description of the interaction, the location, the time in the daily schedule of that interaction. Is it during their small group time? Was it during their work time? Snack time? Outdoor time? Take note of that. What was the reason for the interaction? How long did the interaction occur for? And then was the interaction positive and supportive? So make sure that you take notes of that. Again, I'm just asking you to detail one example of each, but you are more than welcome to record multiple examples of these types of interactions and then choose later which one you want to reflect on in your paper. The next thing we're going to look at is the interest. Again, being able to observe children's interactions with each other in the environment will help you better identify the interests that arise out of those situations. So again, it says, while children engage in the many activities available to them throughout their learning environment, you will begin to see their interests being communicated and displayed through their conversations, their work, and their play. So you really are going to have to start to pull out what they're interested in. So again, I want you to take notes on the interests that were communicated. You're going to see children building the block area. You're going to see children playing different scenarios in the house area. You're going to see children creating different things in the art center. You're going to see them reading books about things, and you're going to see them playing different things on the playground. So within this play, what interests are coming out? An interest is not the blocks. The interest is what types of things they would be doing with the blocks. The interest isn't the art center or the house center. It's what types of specific play was coming out of those interest centers. So make sure that you detail that. Whenever I look at your observation paper and I'm looking to see what types of interest you are pulling out of these situations, I'm going to look for specifics. So if you say, for example, they were interested in blocks, that's not correct. Yes, they were interested in playing with the blocks, but that didn't show the interest, that specific interest that was coming out of that play. Maybe there was a group of children that were playing in the block center and they were talking about maybe they were talking about cars, and they had the cars and they were playing with the cars and they were building a race track, or they were building a car garage or a mechanic station or something like that. So again, the cars would be an interest. The blocks are the tool that they're using to communicate and represent that interest. So I hope that makes sense, and that I differentiate a bit about that so that you really understand what I'm looking for whenever we come to identifying the interests of the students. So again, you're going to have to record the different activities taking place within the classroom. So what's happening in the art center, what's happening in the literacy center, what's happening in the block center, what's happening on the playground. When you detail what's happening in all those areas, then you start to see what types of interests the children are communicating through their conversations, through their work, through their representations, through the interactions that they're having with each other. All of that should be recorded in your notes so that you can pull those things out to reflect on them in your final paper. One thing I want you to do is to try to identify at least 3 interests that you see. So again, it's really important that you're paying attention to what's happening and trying to listen in on what they're talking about so that you are able to pull those different interests out. Again, I know you're only going to be there for 3 hours of observation. So again, you're not going to know if this interest is a long-term interest. You're just going to try to identify what you see as being an interest in those 3 hours that you are there observing the children. So again, one thing that I want to stress is to go through this outline again, look at all the specifics that you need to record, and then come up with a way to record them during your observation. I would suggest maybe taking a notebook and designating each page for a different area that you need to take notes on. You know, maybe one page is all about environment, maybe one page is you talk about the labeling, one page you talk about the materials. You know, however you want to organize it so you can record your notes so that it's clear when you go back to create your paper that you have all of that information in there and it's detailed and it's concrete so you can take it and apply it to this paper. So find a way to organize that. If you have any questions about that, you can definitely contact me, email, or during my conference hours, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 12 to 2. Take time and just really enjoy this observation experience. It'll really now that we're starting to get into some big content in the class, we've talked about child-adult interactions, we've talked about creating a caring community of learners. This upcoming week we're talking about environment. So all of those pieces are critical things that you're going to be seeing put into practice during your observation. So if you have any questions about anything, please don't hesitate to reach out and contact me. I hope that this short video helped to clarify just some of those expectations. Again, I highly recommend that you read through the expectations a couple different times so that you are clear on what you need to be observing during that observation. Again, have a great weekend, and I will be talking to you guys online soon. Bye-bye.